Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Hope all is well. When serving God, we serve God through many of our faculties. We serve God with our intellect, with our emotion, with our action, many other faculties. The Rebbe Shab explains how there's actually an advantage over emotions compared to intellect. So we learn that intellect is a higher source. The chokhmah bina dat, the mukhin, the brain, the intellect is at a higher level than the emotions. What does it mean it's at a higher level? It's more refined. Emotions are more neutral. Intellect is more refined in the sense where there's a higher godly revelation. When you're thinking with your intellect, you don't experience your own existence. You're just experiencing the intellect. You're experiencing Hashem. Intellect. When you're learning Torah when you're learning about Hashem, when you're thinking about Hashem with your intellect, you don't experience your own presence at all. But what's emotions? Emotions is when you take that intellect, you say, how does that relate to me? So the Rebbe Shab explains how when you're learning about Hashem, intellectually you appreciate how Hashem is good, but when you feel it in your emotions, it goes down to the heart, you feel, wow, Hashem is good for me. So intellect is just appreciating how Hashem is great and appreciating Hashem, being in awe of Hashem intellectually, but there's no you there. But then, when it goes down, then he explains how it has to pause for a sec. The intellect has to pause and hide itself, and then boom, it activates the heart, and then you say, wow, Hashem is good for me. So, very interesting. So he goes on to explain how that is why intellect is superior to emotions. Why? Because there's no you. You're batal, you're nullified. The whole point is to take our own presence and to nullify ourselves to Hashem till there's no us left. There's no ego anymore. We're just given over to Hashem. We're surrendered to Hashem. So how could it be that there's an advantage over emotions over intellect? So the Rebbe Shab explains how there is an advantage over emotions and intellect because when you're learning Torah, when you're connecting to God intellectually, it's great, and you're bringing greatness into the world. You're bringing godly light into the world, but it's not completely penetrating and changing your animal soul. As you know, we have a godly soul and an animal soul, and our godly soul gets enclosed in our animal soul, and there's a battle. But the whole point is not to destroy the animal soul, God forbid, no, but to take it and to refine it and turn it over into godliness. So when you're learning Torah, but it's not affecting your emotions, you're not really penetrating your animal soul. Your animal soul is not getting purified as much, not nearly as much, and it's not getting as turned over to holiness. But when you learn Torah and it affects your emotions and you feel excited, you feel a love and a fear of God in your body and your heart, that means the Torah is now penetrating your body and you're starting to be turned over to holiness. You're starting to get transformed into holiness, your animal soul. Your godly soul is already holy. It doesn't need to be transformed. But the animal soul is neutral. It could either, God forbid, go to the dark side when you sin, or of course you can bring your animal soul with you to the side of holiness. And when your animal soul comes to the holiness, it brings down a much greater godly light. So this connects to the coming of Moshiach, and it connects to the paraduma. What's the paraduma? The paraduma is the red heifer. The red heifer, what is it? We spoke about it in many videos, but basically it relates to when you take. In Chassidus, it means taking all your animal soul, all your animal desires, and channeling it towards godliness, saying, look, I have an animal soul. It's not bad, it's neutral. But if I channel my desires towards sin, it's very bad. But I could take that same animal soul, that same body that has a lot of desires, that's very instinctual, that's very intense, and I could channel it towards Hashem. And what's an example of that? Praying to God. When you pray to God, you use your body and you feel your emotions and you try to get excited. Or when you celebrate at a wedding, you're celebrating, you're getting excited, you're eating good food, you're dancing, but you're celebrating a holy wedding, so you're using all this animalistic things, but you're channeling it towards godliness, and that is actually the highest level. People think, intellect is great, emotions aren't as great. No, the truth is, of course, intellect is superior to emotions, and you need intellect to arouse the emotions. But once you could arouse those emotions, if you can channel those emotions towards Hashem, feel love and a fear of Hashem, you're bringing down extremely lofty light, godly light into the world. And it's affecting you in a more internal way. Because when you're learning Torah, but it doesn't affect your emotions, it's great, but it won't permanently as much affect you. You could forget about it. It won't leave a mark on you. But when you feel a love and a fear of God, and you meditate, and the Torah then goes down into your heart, it will affect you permanently, and it will refine your body, and it will purify the heart. So this is very important to do, and we have to recognize that it's true, that the way we arouse the emotions is through intellect. the emotions come from intellect, and there's the emotions within the intellect, meaning, as you know, the sfirot, all the 10 sfirot are intertwined within each other. So when you meditate in your mind about Hashem, the emotions exist first in an intellectual state, and then it will go down into the heart. So basically, what does this mean in reality? Because these are very deep ideas, but how do we bring this into practicality? By thinking, wow, Hashem is worth loving. I have a love in my heart for Hashem. I just have to arouse it. Hashem does, thinking about all the amazing things that Hashem does for you. And Hashem time and time again forgives us. And He gives us other chances. And He loves us more than we love ourselves. And He feels our pain infinitely more than we feel our own pain. And this, we could also arouse a fear of God and awe of God by realizing how powerful, how great Hashem is, and how serious this mission He sent us on is. And how this is Hashem's greatest interest, our mission, and how, God forbid, when a person sins, it causes Hashem a lot of pain. When we think about these ideas, that they arouse a fear of God and a love of God, it all starts with the mind. But we have to channel our mind towards the heart and realize that Hashem wants us to connect to Him with our emotions. So what's the difference between intellect and emotions? Intellect doesn't involve the self. There's no me. It's just the idea, the godly idea. It just exists. But now, it's just an awareness of this godly idea, but there's no me. But then the emotions is, how does this relate to me? So Hashem is the king of the world. That can exist in an intellectual state, and it could also exist in the heart. Wow, I have a king, and His name is Hashem, and He wants my attention. And so the whole point is to take the self and give yourself over to God, and to permanently purify your body. How do you purify the body? With the emotions. So with this, may we merit the coming of Moshiach. Moshiach will come and teach us, and He'll allow us to fully refine our emotions, and our emotions will take us to even greater heights. And that's, in a sense, the advantage of the Baal Tshuva, actually, over the tzaddik. The tzaddik, he's very involved with Hashem, but there's no really, he might not be as intense as the Baal Tshuva. The Baal Tshuva, while he has his things that he has to work on, and he had his difficulties in the past, but now that he's connected to God, he has much more emotion, much more passion, and that's why the tzaddik and the Baal Tshuva have two different missions, and when coming together, that allows the world to get prepared for the days of Moshiach. Maybe today. I hope this video was helpful. God bless you all. Please share with others.